Welcome to the Unsidelined Life, the podcast that challenges and encourages women to stop denying themselves a full life and to step boldly into the opportunities God is preparing for you. Join me for raw insights and engaging conversations to guide your journey of self-discovery and pursue the life that God created for you. Welcome to the Unsidelined Life. This is Eileen Noyes, your host. I always feel, and I say this all the time, that I should just record from the get-go so that you could see behind the scenes, because every guest is different. I may know them for a little bit. I may know them for a long time. Honor is someone who we've technically known each other maybe a year or so, but just through Facebook and just kind of having the same kind of groups. But every time we talk, which has probably been maybe 4 to 5 times through camera, her smile just brings a joy to my face, and the wisdom that she has and the insight, and just where I want to go is where she's going. And so these conversations, they always start before we record. I'm like, oh shoot, we should have recorded this, because there's just conversation and things that I believe women, whether in the NFL or not in the NFL, these are the different struggles that we have in terms of, okay, we stopped everything. We put everything on pause for our husbands, for our families. And then we press play again. And it's like, well, I don't know how to use the other parts of the remote control, basically. And I don't know what area to go to, or, just those talks. So Honor, I just told you that I finished my podcast with Kim Singletary. Didn't know her either. And oh my gosh, I don't know where your timing is with her. The sweetest person ever. And just that conversation and that podcast was so awesome. And so we had talked about the transition. And so as I, introduce you, as I'm introducing you now, I know that this conversation is going to kind of be along the same lines. So first, let's, again, honor Garrett. I'm honoring her because I know that she has connection with Dallas. So I got my big pokey. They really poke, so I shouldn't turn my head. And I got navy blue. So this is in honor of the Dallas Cowboys. So yes, please introduce yourself, because I know you have a connection, at least for a time.
Yeah.
Not fully, but yes. So please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm Honor Garrett, and I'm married to John Garrett, and he's been in the NFL. He was in the NFL for about 20 years, but only a very short time as a player, and most of that time, 20 years coaching. And then he transitioned, or kind of went back and forth, to college coaching. He's now the director, the general manager, which is kind of like oversees directing all the recruiting, scouting, NIL for Duke University. So it's actually a blessing, because we've moved 16 times in 32 years of marriage, and we are now back in the North Carolinas. And I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. My parents are still alive, 88 and 85. And so it's just such a blessing and so sweet that I can be back here at this stage of my parents' lives, and I can see them and visit them, and also just be a part of this community again. So yes, we spent a lot of years in the NFL, and exactly 6 years he was the tight end coach for the Dallas Cowboys. And we've been to the Bengals and the Arizona Cardinals and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, kind of all over the place. But I always say we've been so blessed that my husband has been able to make a living at doing what he loves. But that doesn't mean that it was easy. Right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. So, okay. So, he was a tight end, obviously, right?
Well, he was actually a wide receiver.
Okay.
He learned tight end. He did a lot of work with O-line coaches. And so because he knew the passing game, and then he learned the line game and the, blocking offensive line, he was then perfectly situated to be a tight end coach, because I have to do both.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, where did he play and when? Around what time frame?
Okay, that one will be a good one. My husband's great with dates. I'm not so much. But when I met him, which is kind of a sweet story, we met.
Go right into that.
Well, I was a weekend sports producer for an ABC affiliate in San Antonio, Texas. And I was a sports reporter. So he and his brother, Jason, were drafted to the World League of American Football. So this wasn't even the real NFL. It was later turned into NFL Europe, but he was drafted to the San Antonio Riders. And so we had him in this football state in the TV station to interview these football players who were going on live at 5. It was a human interest story. John and his brother actually has two other brothers. He's one of 8. And he actually went to Princeton University. So did his brothers. And it was kind of a human interest story. So they said, hey, go introduce yourself. There's 2 football players in the line in the green room. And so I'm thinking, okay. I go up there and I'm thinking 2 huge linemen. And if you've ever seen my husband, he is super skinny and tall. He does not look like he ever played a down of football. And so I always say he had good hands and he could run out of bounds quick. So it was interesting because I was like, oh, 2 cute boys with baseball caps, blue eyes, and dimples. And I obviously was attracted to my husband at the time, and that's how we met. But he went from there. He's also been with the Buffalo Bills, and he started out with the Cincinnati Bengals. He was in a training camp at the Dallas Cowboys, training camp with Buffalo Bills. That's kind of when we met. Honestly, I can't even keep it straight. I don't know if you were in the same place for a while.
Yeah. It's been a while. It's hard to keep track of all those things.
So I think we were in Dallas. I'm trying to remember 2007 to 13, maybe. Okay. Anyway, I'm not great with dates, but we have 4 children and they have moved around a lot. And so it's been a really interesting ride, but I really wouldn't change it. I think it makes your children more resilient.
Yeah. Where are they? What are their ages and where are they now?
So our oldest will turn 30 this week, John Morgan Jr.
I don't know how old you are, but you look amazing. Like,
oh, you're really
30.
Sweet. I'm 58. My husband just turned 60. So I got married. I guess we got married when I was 26. Had John Morgan at 28. Anyway, he's turning 30 and he lives in New York. He's married and he lives in Harlem, New York, and he is a 6th grade English teacher.
Wow.
And then we have 3 daughters. Honor. My mom's name is Honor. My name is Honor. And my oldest daughter is Honor. I know, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
So Honor is in PR in Nashville. She went to Georgia. And my oldest son went to Belmont University. And then Olivia went to South Carolina, and she is a 3rd grade teacher at a Christian school in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And then our youngest, Caroline, just graduated from UNC Chapel Hill, and she took a job with Moondance Adventures, which is an adventure leadership group that takes kids all over the world. And she has been doing that in the summers for 2 years, and they liked her and hired her. So she also lives in Nashville. So none of my kids are near me, but they live in fun places to visit.
So South Carolina, okay, I'm so bad at geography. So South Carolina, you said one of them was there. How far is that from you?
Probably about 5 hours.
Okay.
Nashville's 8 hours, and then 8 or 9 hours to New York. It's totally fine.
It's driving, this driving distance. It's
the East Coast. It's not like they're in California, right? So,
yeah. Well, I think when my kids have been gone, I have one that's 2 hours away, but the other one, he drove from Nebraska by himself over here. So that was the first time. So I was a little bit nervous, but he made it. So yeah, but yeah, it's always, when they were, there was a time when we were in Wisconsin and I had my 2 oldest at a prep school in Connecticut. So that too, it's like, it wasn't driving. To me, anything 4 or 5 hours is, I'd totally go visit. Probably a lot more than they want me.
Well, I do believe that when you have a lot of kids, obviously you have a lot of kids. I only have four, but because growing up, 6 flights to go fly somewhere was a lot of money, and you haven't even done anything yet. You've just gotten
Yeah.
to your destination. So we
Right.
drove everywhere. When we lived in Dallas, we would drive all the way to New Jersey. We would drive all over because the thing about football, at least for coaches, is that in the summer, they work every day. They work every day, even on the weekends, obviously, games and preparation. And then after the games, looking at the film. So he would work every day during the season. But in the off season, there was about 3 weeks. And for my husband, even coming up, end of June till third week of July, it's family time. And so
So
it didn't matter what we were doing. We never took exotic trips or anything like that.
yeah.
It was like, get in the car, let's go see my family and let's go see your family. And that
Yeah.
for us was what mattered the most.
Yeah. So when he was playing, and you said it wasn't very long, did you just transition right into coaching? Can you even give a contrast of how it was as a player's wife to a coach's wife, and you've been in it for so long?
Yeah.
Any different? I mean, you know,
Well, I do believe that when he was playing, he was never a star, right? He was always on the cuff trying to make
to
it
make
in training camp and maybe would get on the practice roster. It wasn't like um he didn't have like a huge contract or anything. So it wasn't that different, except for then when he started coaching, it is just, he would be at work at 6 in the morning and he would work sometimes till 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, he would get 5 hours of sleep and be back in the office. And it's different with every team. So it depends on the coach and who's, if they believe that you needed to work yourself to death to prove, something or to win. And one thing that I have found that when people aren't winning, they tend to work more to show that they're doing their work.
yeah,
Like, I really am trying to make this work.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
reality is, and it is in life too, when a team comes together, it's not just one person. It all has to work together. And so my husband always says this, people have no idea how hard it is just to win a game. Just to win a
Mhm.
game, one game, because everything has to align. Everybody has to be doing their job. Nobody's getting, you don't want to have injuries. And if there are, people have to step up. And so really, in order to be successful, especially long term, I mean, your team has to be on the same page. But that's
Mhm.
like any business or anything that you do in life.
Yeah.
You're going to be successful if everyone shares the same values, is on the same page. My husband, when he's recruiting, the number one thing he does is he's like, we want the right kind of guy. If you're not the
Yeah.
right kind of guy, you're going to be a cancer for that
Yes.
team. And, you're
Right.
only as good as your weakest link. So that really matters to him. No.
That's good to know, because I mean, I tell my kids that, I mean, it's so easy to just kind of look at the sound bites or there's the little clips, and it's like, my boys, because of what we went through, there's a longer road, there's a different road, and it's like, one, God has a purpose and a plan for you, and you have resilience and you have character that's been built through your tough times that no one will ever know and understand. And so I just know that God is good and faithful, and he's going to get them through, and he's got a plan for them. But yeah, to see that, hey, it's not all about how physically good you are. They want leaders too. They don't want problem people. It doesn't matter how good
No.
you are. So yeah, so I was just thinking about that. And so when I think about, your situation, you had said that you were in broadcasting. So was there that time where so it sounded like you had a life before your husband, you're doing your thing. Did you pause it? Did you stop it? Did you, with the moving and all that stuff? Yeah. Like what was it like to just go into motherhood and put all that other stuff aside, like work wise?
There are a lot of people, and I have friends that all they ever dreamt of was having a family. I was a little different. I really was driven. I don't know why I wanted to be famous, but I wanted to have a good career and whatever it was. And I guess prove myself. Not really sure where that comes from. At the time though, I didn't know the Lord. So that
Okay.
has a lot to do with it. And not until my husband and I met each other, he had just become a Christian and I was really researching it, really asking a lot of questions. And we pretty much became Christians around the same time, which really bonded us. But
Wow.
I would say it was hard because I had all these dreams for myself, right? But then I fell in love and I was like, well, I'd much rather have this, than my career because it was someone to do life with and we had the same values. And he was way better at what he did. At least I felt like than me. And so I really didn't, I wanted to start a family. It's funny how you don't think you're going to want something and God can change your mind and your
Yeah.
heart in an instant. And it's wild. But I will say what's hard is you love your kids so much, but women can tend to lose themselves. They forget about their dreams. They're serving their husband, they're serving their kids. And that's why now that I'm an empty nester and I went back and got certified as a life and leadership coach, I have this heart for women to know that you were made for more. More doesn't mean better. What you're doing right now as a parent is and taking care of kids and being that role model and paving the way for them is it's priceless. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the most important thing that you might ever do. But once you're done doesn't mean you're done. First of all, you can
Yeah.
never be done with your kids, but he has so much more for you. And I really feel like if I have a gift to encourage people and to really see the potential in people, and I love it when people are not when they're struggling, but when they tell me something and they have so many limiting beliefs and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can just see so clearly what you're capable of. So I love that. And I feel like if I don't help people do that, then and just keep it to my family, that's kind of selfish.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love it because like even so she sent me a media kit and a bio. I'm like, man, like we are so on the same page, like just a little shift in like our niches and things like that. But obviously we both have the NFL and the pro athlete. We've been in that realm. We understand that. And like you talking about being an empty nester, um, you know, like I can't wait till you see Kim's because she talks about that. And so here, I mean, I can't, there's no way that I can wait till I'm an empty nester. That's just not going to happen. Because when would that be? Oh, yeah, my youngest is 7. I'm 50. So that would not be a good thing. And God knows. But I mean, when I hear you talk, I was just thinking this. I was upstairs and getting ready. And I was just thinking, women, I think I was just reading your bio. And I was thinking, gosh, us women, we feel so guilty when we start thinking out of the box and going, okay, what if I start nurturing this gift in me? What if that skill or that hobby, what if I like start pursuing it more? There's such a guilt. And then I think, you know what, like there are seasons. And so I feel that there's going to be in the Christian world, there's going to be a resistance kind of that why are you talking about something more? There's like kind of like two different things of you should focus on your family. You should stay at home. No doubt. I mean, when all the kids were young, that's all it was. And I totally took pride. I made this like plate. I took pride in the fact that my life right now is laundry, dishes, diapers.
Right.
That's all I know. And it was like, that was my world. But at, you know, 7 to 22, if that is what I believe that my purpose is, and that's it, like folding dude, they should be folding their own clothes by now. Like I shouldn't be like, it's like
Right.
there's a lot of things that they should be doing that we don't need to like it's that transition. And so there's going to be time. There's going to be time for you. There's going to be time for, and I believe God nudges you, to go, hey, I didn't make you just for this. And not that, because I remember the first time I said, I'm just a mom, I'm just a wife. It was Gilbert, who was part of the NFL. And he was like, don't you dare say that. You're not just a mommy. And so I took that to heart, but then it started working against me when I started feeling like, ooh, can I pursue other things? Then it's like, the devil's using it against me. Like, oh, you're a bad mom and you're a bad wife if you even look outside of the home.
I want women so much to know, number one, is stop the guilt and stop saying you're sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a woman, I don't know about you, but I said I'm sorry all the time about nothing to be sorry about. I don't even know where it came from. We're just always apologizing and always. And I want women to stand in their power that God has blessed and ordained them with, because honestly, right now, you doing what you're doing, it is the best example for your kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That they can do things. Look at mom. She's doing the coolest stuff. She's actually following her dreams. That means I can. So, and I really think the other thing is we tend to put God in a box.
Yes.
We don't really realize how big he is. And I heard this story from this lady who talks on stage all the time, and it was so cute. She said there was a golfer. Have you heard this? There's a professional golfer, and the king of Saudi Arabia or some land had him come over and teach this king how to play golf. And after he taught him how to play golf, he was like, thank you so much. I want to give you a gift. How can I gift you something? I really want to thank you for teaching me how to play golf. And he's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe a golf club. I mean, I collect golf clubs. So yeah, I guess. And so he got on the plane to come back to the US, and he's looking out the window thinking, I wonder what this golf club is going to look like. Is it going to be gold inlaid? Is it going to have rubies or diamonds on it? Because, he is a king. It could be really grand. And he gets home and he keeps looking at the front door each day. Is the golf club come? Has it come? Never came. And then one day he gets a certified letter in the mail, and he opens it up and it says, you are now the owner of an 18-hole golf club in the US. And, he was thinking a golf club, but this king was thinking a golf club. And I think that's what happens with us and God, is that, kings think differently, and he is the King of Kings, and he is capable of anything. And we keep, we're afraid to tell our dreams and to ask for things, but he's not intimidated by it. And so I just want people to dream big. And the things that I want for other people, I'm teaching myself right now. It's not that I don't struggle just like someone else, but I recognize his glory. I recognize his goodness, and that it is possible. And I have to believe that faith is so important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you start your journey to go, okay, it's time? Or has it always been there? I mean, I could say that for sure. For me, it's always been there, whether it's the Bible studies or I would volunteer. And, I refer to this a lot. For me, I wish they still had a program. And I do believe that God is trying to somehow incorporate it with me and what I want to do. But Life Skills International has been so huge in my life and how it's impacted me and navigated through my hard time. Yeah. And the founder died. And so he passed away, probably that 4 years ago or more. But I can't help but give so many props to that and how it's helped me navigate through. But yeah, so I mean, there's always been hints of, okay, I'm gonna do little things that I know fills me, right? And then now, there's more segments now. Right now, from here till 3:00, this is my time to work and to get things going. So yeah, so when did it start for you?
It really started for me when my youngest was in high school, because it wasn't like I had to do something, because
Mm-hmm.
thankfully my husband had a good job at the time. He was the head coach of Lafayette College in Pennsylvania. But I've always wanted to do something. And so I figured, what am I going to do? And I love health and fitness. And of course, in football, we're always care about our health and taking care of ourselves. And so I said, I'll become a certified health coach. And I did that. And I got my certification and I started, but there was just something missing. I don't know what it was. I was just like, I just I don't want to put diet plans together for people. It just wasn't exactly what I thought it would be. And I realized that even people that are overweight or struggling, they're usually struggling with something other than that. It's mental.
Mhm.
And so then I said, well, then I went down the rabbit hole, of course, and I got certified as a life coach and did leadership and even hypnotherapy. And there's even a Christian energy thing called splankna. I went down I went down a whole lot and then I also went down some rabbit holes that probably weren't of God, not
Mhm.
choosing to do that. I was interested. I'm a very curious person and I was very interested in a lot of different things. And what it really did is it just solidified to me that God is the one that is going to, he's the one that gave me my gifts. So
Yeah.
he's the one that can use them, like that he can work through me for those to work right. And so for me not to rely on him, I kind of look at it this way. I love analogies and I love
Yeah.
acronyms and metaphors. Okay, imagine a football, but it's deflated. But the football itself has a lot of potential. It has, I mean, if you, if it's filled in, you breathe life into it and air into it, you can throw a spiral and like get the touchdown, everything. But if you are deflated, even though you might have the skills and you might have, you're just not gonna win a lot of games with a flat ball.
Right. Yes.
You
We
need
want
God, you need the breath of God, you need the breath of encouragement from other people. Just because you were given a talent, I still think you have to give the glory to God. You have to ask him constantly, show me guidance, teach me,
Mhm.
because we can say we have this gift and then use it thinking we're using it for God and step back and go, ooh, maybe I got off track. And so I don't know. I just think that God is, I have found when I'm doing things, even though I think I'm very capable and I don't let God into the equation, it somehow falls flat.
Yeah. Yeah, you had talked about like pursuing things. So again, I love how I don't think about, sometimes like I just go with God's leading on my guests and obviously timing. So we probably talked about this for a while, but I totally think two things that you said is here I am doing this Proverbs 31 devotional. And every time this is in terms of writing, this is the book where I'm going, and maybe I should, but I'm going chapter by chapter. When I hit this chapter, I'm just meditating on it. So last week I happened to do Proverbs 31:16, and it's she considers a field and she buys it. And then she plants living vineyards on it. And so going through and expanding on it. And then here I am talking to Kim about where she was in this whole thing. It totally, totally connected, which ties into what you're saying also, that, like I keep thinking of that scripture. I'm probably not going to say it right, but it's like we have plans, but God is the one that directs us to the purpose of that.
Right.
So that talks about the field part. And so that's what I hear you talking about. It's
Wow.
like you have we can have all these, yes, but yes, if we're doing God and other people a disservice if we are going around, going on a different rabbit hole or using it for the wrong things. But when we do it for God's glory, it's just like, oh my gosh, like what a contrast. and what a difference, and how awesome the trickling effects, and just like just the ripple effect of
Well,
you.
and we're made in his image, and God is, to me, I look at it, God is the creator, the best creator, the best artist ever. And we were made in his image. And so we were born to create, and we were born. And so not to go to the master artist and ask for direction just doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But we do it all the time, even as a parent and child relationship. We've done a really good job at teaching our kids that adults want to help you. So ask for help. We'll help you. We'll connect you to people. We'll get your foot in the door. And a lot of young kids are like, no, I don't want anything given to me. I want to do it myself. And I'm like, why are you making it so hard for yourself? Like, you've got someone there that wants to help. We don't want to enable you. You still have to get the job. You still have to show up and do the interview. You still have to do the work. But we have a way to help open doors for you. And I do think when we go to God, he will open doors for us that we don't even know are there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. You do have some awesome analogies. I love them.
I swear. Well, it's the only way that and acronyms. It's the only way I can like remember things. I love to visualize. And so I wanted to tell you a sweet story about the NFL, because when we were in the NFL and you, with kids, your husband might have to play on Christmas. I don't know if your husband ever had to play on Christmas Day.
Thanksgiving is a lot. I don't remember Christmas.
Okay. So one day my husband had to coach on Christmas Day, and it was away. So he was gone Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And we have this tradition that we go to church, come home, read the birth of Jesus in the Bible, and then Dad, my husband, John, with all his vigor and personality and silliness, reads "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," that book. And it is just a fan favorite. Our kids are in their late 20s, and we still do it every year. And I videotape it every year. And it's so funny. The kids get the biggest kick out of it. But that year, Caroline was 4 years, so young. And she looked at Dad. I mean, she's, Dad can't go away. Right? You can't go away. You have to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And so it's breaking your heart. You're like, what am I going to do? And that's when you can get resourceful. Okay, this is before FaceTime, mind you, people listening to this. So he couldn't just call and see his face and read it. And we got resourceful, and I found this book that you could push record, and it was like a flip book. So we wrapped it up, and Caroline opened it on Christmas Eve, and she's thinking, oh, I can't believe I'm opening a gift on Christmas Eve. Dad's not even here. But when she opened it, her eyes just lit up. When she hit, play, she looked at me and she's like, Dad is here. And it was the most heartwarming thing. We'll always remember that. And this is what I tell people, anybody, especially in the NFL, or if you have a husband that travels a lot and can't be with the kids or whatever it is, intentionality is more important than proximity.
Wow, that's
Just
so good.
You can't be there doesn't mean you can't send a little note or do something special to make that person. I always feel like my husband probably might feel a little guilt for not being around as much as he could have as a father. He was the best dad in the world, because the time he had with them was priceless. And anytime he could be intentional, even if he wasn't there, he did. So you just got to get creative.
Have you ever felt like you're living in the shadows, watching life pass you by? Maybe you're drowning in the day-to-day, wondering if there's more to your story. I'm Eileen Noyes, and I'm here to tell you that it's time to step into the light. As women, we often put our dreams on hold, but here's the truth. You were created for a purpose, for greater than you can imagine. God didn't design you to blend into the background. He made you to stand out and make a difference. That's the heart behind my book, Rise Up Ladybell Tour. It's a rallying cry for every woman ready to break free from the shadows and embrace her God-given calling. In Rise Up Ladybell Tour, you'll learn how to uncover your unique strengths and talents, break through the barriers holding you back, and step confidently into your place of purpose. Ladies, it's time to armor up and answer the call. Your battle cry awaits in the pages of Rise Up Lady Bellator. Get your copy today at ladybellator.com/books. That's LADYBELLATOR.com/books. Remember, you're not just any warrior, you're a Lady Bellator. Rise up and claim your purpose.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. I love that. And, I mean, gosh, here, me having, unfortunately, like a split sometimes, like there's that hard place of, gosh, my kids don't have that, or, but thank God that you are speaking into the lives of those who have the opportunity. And I have different opportunities in different ways, but you're right. I mean, when, for those listeners who are, there's a temptation to be resentful. And as a wife, as you said, that tone, hey, dad may not be able to be here physically, but you guys do that. It starts with us. I mean, that role of helper,
right,
is so much more. And this is why, again, like, I believe that we have the same heart. It's like, you're more, like, woman, you are so much more than you think. And you have such power of influence for your kids, for your spouse. Like, to me, that's why I know, I mean, that's why I kept doing on what I was doing and why I kept pushing through. Because I'm like, okay, Lord, you've given me 8. And it's either I play victim and, pity me and I'm a single mom, or no, Lord, you are still good. I choose joy. I choose peace. I choose forgiveness. Hey, kids, we don't complain. We don't whine. God is going before us. I mean, all those things. So, as you are in, like, please explain all the things. You have such a list of all the things that you're doing. And this is what we were talking about prior to recording, is what you're doing now. And then and then before you get into that, so this next proverb, which I thought, okay, this is easy because this is my world. This next one is Proverbs 31:17, where it says, she girds her loins with strength and makes her arms strong and firm. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I got this. And I know that God has given me like kind of a rundown, like, okay, this is what you're going to talk about in this proverb. But when I thought about you, I'm like, I didn't know that you, prior to reading your stuff, I didn't know that you were like in the health and fitness world. You look like it, but I didn't know like that was something that you were in. So yeah, like
I still love it. It's just not, and I help people if they need it, but that's not where my focus is.
But you personally work out still.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you do before we get into this?
What do I do?
I'm in that menopausal thing. I'm finally getting some sort of accountability, because as much as I try to do it on my own, that weight keeps like creeping up, and I don't like that. So yeah. So what do you do?
It is real. And honestly, I've done a really decent job of it. And now I'm 58. And the last couple of years, it's been really hard. Like, trying to get muscle mass is difficult, but I follow a lot of people that I really like. And I've read, the new menopause, Mary Claire Haver. She's
okay.
the Galveston diet and the new menopause. And there's several people that I follow. I just got my first weighted vest. So they say for bone density, you should be wearing a weighted vest. I do hot yoga, love hot yoga. So I like to sweat. It's not for everybody. So my husband and I go to this place called Hot Works every morning, and they're infrared saunas, and you do yoga in 125 degrees. It's hot.
80 was hard. Holy cow.
So I do that. And then I walk a lot and I play pickleball. I love pickleball. And then, I need to do more weights. And I know it's what I tell everyone to do. Since we just moved into this house, we're trying to make one of the rooms upstairs more like a gym. So I just need to get heavier weights. I don't have heavy enough weights, because the one bit of advice I would tell anyone and every woman at this age, if they're menopausal, is that you need to lift weights. You need to lift heavy weights. It is so important. And the more muscle you have, the better your metabolism, the easier it is to, to burn fat. And then secondly, eat a lot of protein, resistant training, and don't be afraid of fat. I grew up in a generation where everything's fat free. And so we ate tons of sugar instead. And I would say the number one thing that you should not do is eat sugar. And I have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because a couple of years ago, I started a Facebook group called No Sugar 365 or something like that. And so I started doing it, and then I relapsed because I love sugar. But I will, when I eliminate sugar from my diet, I feel amazing. My skin looks better, because what happens with sugar, everybody's worried about fat or trans fat or high cholesterol. Cholesterol is not dangerous unless you're eating a lot of sugar, because it's not the cholesterol that makes you, it's the sugar that's binding to misguided proteins or fat that clog your arteries. But if there's no sugar there, your cholesterol, even being high, isn't really going to hurt you. So
interesting.
That's kind of a misnomer. But anyway, yeah. But I just do the normal thing. I try to exercise at least 5 days a week.
Okay. Yeah, I love those little nuggets, because you're right. I was like, look, this is the highest weight I've been. I think, I mean, of course, outside of pregnancy, but I don't think I was this much in college lifting heavy and all those things. Right. And so I'm like, look, I always have that. I have a high tolerance. It's like my house can be like super dirty, and I'll go, okay, enough is enough. And it's the same thing with, like, I'm at this weight where I'm like, done. Like, I got to do something different. And it's not, once I get there, and I hate that I'm like this, but it's like, once I'm there, it's like, no, I'm not tempted by anything. And so just a week of not having those sweets, and I'm not even a sweets girl, but I just noticed, because my kids would make cookies at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Let me just have a cookie and a half right before I go to sleep. That's the best thing in the world. And I can feel it in the morning. It feels like a hangover. But yeah, so just taking that out has just been.
Well, and what's so funny is, I'm sure your husband will say, I love you just the way you are. You're beautiful, whatever. Like, my husband didn't care that I had gained 50 pounds, pregnant. He didn't care. But I care. And so one thing that he'll always tell me when I talk negative, because this isn't a whole nother issue that women do. We talk negative about ourselves, or I'm fat when you're not, or I'm like, I just want to get rid of this, or look at my stomach. And my husband, it seems kind of mean, but it's so motivating. He looked at me and he said, because he doesn't care. He loves me the way I can. If I knew he cared, then it would have bothered me. But he doesn't care. But he looked at me and he said, if it really matters to you, you'll do something about it. And I'm like, you're right.
Yes.
He's like,
right.
Don't complain about it. Like, that's something easy you can handle. If you want to eat healthier, don't eat the sugar, whatever. He doesn't care. But what he's saying is, it's not worth conversation. If you're not going to do anything about it.
Don't give me this like whining, complaining, or that's good. He's like, shut up.
Like, he wasn't being mean, because he absolutely adores me, but he's just like really, like, yeah. And that's the whole negative self-talk. And I read something that it takes, is it 14 or 17 positive thoughts to negate one negative thought?
I see. I've been taught 40.
Oh, okay. So my whole point is, those negative thoughts that you're thinking in your brain are so much more powerful than the positive. And it's sad. So that's why, to me, it's really important that we understand our thoughts, because our thoughts, what's inside is going to come out. And a lot of people are like, why are words so important? And I say, words are so important that the God who made everything out of nothing, use words to do it.
Totally.
He commanded the skies to appear. I'm like your words, and we're made in his image. Your words are important, and they literally create.
Yeah.
God used words to create the whole universe. Our words actually create our own little universe. And
yeah,
we just need to work on it.
Such a good reminder, because I've been talking in the last, I don't know, month of different things that God has done in my marriage, healing within me. And so then something happened during the week. I'll just say it. I ran out of gas. I ran out of gas. Third time in California. Has never happened to me. And I ran out of gas. And I was on the highway, was able to pull over. And, I call my husband. And I'm like, hey, ran out of gas. And he's like, okay, how much room do you have on like the side of you? And he goes like, is it a cliff? Is it edge? Is it grass? I said, oh, it's like, I don't know, it's about 20 feet of grass. And he goes, okay, well, can you get the kids out? Because, can you just get out of the car? And I'm thinking, I don't want to get out of the car. And I'm like, well, and he knows me enough where I'm like, he would love to hear, okay, sure. Like, I'll give you a quick yes. He loves the quick yeses. And I'm like, well, what might happen or not? And he's like, you just get out of the car because I don't want anybody hitting you and blah, blah, blah. That's where his mindset was. That's the protector,
Oh, wow.
My husband and every husband. But he was being like, I felt like he was being jerky about it, but he was just being urgent. But I don't know after not fighting for a whole long time and our conflicts, we do have conflict. We've been able to get through quicker. But whatever I told myself in that moment, I think I said, why are you being I probably said something really bad. And it messed me up for a couple days, that even though that time was done and I knew exactly why he did it out of love. He's like, I don't want anybody to hit you, He's like, you guys are like precious to me. So he's wanting to do out of care. But because I didn't speak out loud to say, like at that moment, he is doing it out of love. He wants to protect us. I went with the mentality that he was being a jerk. And so it did mess with me, that, again, like what you just brought up, whether it's 14, 10, 40, because I said something negative, it was like radar of all these things of the bad, where I should have just kept speaking life. And you totally remind me of that.
Well, and marriage itself is hard. I mean, marriage is not easy. I don't care if you are madly in love with your husband. It's still not easy because we're two different people living and coexisting together and trying to, merge and do things together. And someone gave me a really great advice. An older lady gave me advice a long time ago about marriage or just about people. Because when you actually are in an argument with somebody, if you're trying to win an argument, you might lose a relationship. Don't ever try to win an argument. It doesn't matter. And what she told us is, when you get into a disagreement with your husband or any person, stop and ask yourself, is this of eternal value? If it's not of eternal value, let it go. And to be honest, most of the time, it's not. Now, there are some conversations that do have some eternal value that you do need to, negotiate and talk about. But for the most part, most of our fights or our disagreements or whatever are just silly.
Yeah. And it's just like a hit on the ego, which, that's why we try to win. It's because our pride,
Well, and as especially women who've had to do a lot on their own, and you had to do a lot on your own. And I was at home with our 4 kids by ourselves most of the time. And then for them to come in and try to tell me what to do when I've been doing it just fine. Right. And that's where I have to just let my ego go aside and said, you know what? He has a different cross to bear. He can't be here. And this is making him feel good that he can contribute. Let me back off a little.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to look at it now. That doesn't mean I always did it. No,
right. Stop. Yeah. I know for me, it's this whole thing of like, let him win. Like, even if, you know, if there's something that I expect, if I just ask him, he wants to, yeah, I can do that. And he does it. And it's like, oh, like, thank you so much. So I'm learning at 51, you know, there's different strategies of getting what I want. And it's a win for me. It's a win for him. And yeah, it's just, yeah, marriage for sure is a journey. Okay. Highlighting you in these, like, tell us about your podcast. Tell us what you're doing. I know that you talked about helping empty nesters. Like, gosh, I have so many ideas that I know that somehow God's gonna use us.
Yeah, we need to do a retreat or something, or get women together and do something together, because I feel like we both know a lot of people and we both have a lot to share. But how I mainly help women is I do have a coaching program. I've coached one-on-one, I've coached in group, you know, have a women's group, but basically I'm focused more on empty nesters. I do help more than just empty nesters, but you know how they tell you to have a niche. And it just happens to be that because I've been through it, you know, I have some wisdom in that area, and yet I'm still navigating it as well. So it's kind of good, because that way you can be real. We can all share what we're doing. So my goal is to have a huge community of women who come together, like-minded, talking about these issues. So yes, it is mindset, life, and leadership coaching, but you know what else it is? It's just the everyday. What is it like going through menopause? What is it like for your child to be gone and they're not here anymore, and you're not really sure what the next step in your life is? So that's where I help women. And then I would say my ministry is more of helping college age girls, you know, just getting out of, who may be still in college or trying to decide what they're going to do after college. Because I just had 3 daughters graduate from college in the last 5 years, and they think they have to have the perfect job. They think they have to know exactly what to do, and that job's going to be the job. And your first job is never going to be perfect. And it's really about trusting and doing something that you're interested in, and trusting and being open to other opportunities that come out of that, or where God leads you, and just trust that. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I also have a podcast, and I try to do every week, and now it's about every other week. It may ramp up because I've got quite a few in the queue that are coming out soon, including yours. And so, yeah, that's really what I'm doing. But I have more interest than just this. I don't know about you, but don't you feel like I also have this toffee company that I'm starting on the side, because everybody tells me I should sell my toffee, which is hilarious, because I put it off for so long because I'm a health coach too. And I'm like, should I be selling toffee? But
every once in a while, it's not bad.
You know what? I think in nutrition and in health and just in life in general, it's moderation.
Yes,
we can still enjoy the sweet stuff in life. We need to know how to take a small piece, not eat a whole box.
Yeah, it's discipline. It's discipline. So, I wonder, like, have you tried healthy sugar type of toffee? Have you experimented?
I haven't done that yet, but I do love. I like stevia, which is probably the best sweetener you can have. That's not going to raise your glycemic index and make your body release insulin. Because at the end of the day, too, with insulin, with weight gain, or you want your blood sugar levels to stay steady. So if you do eat sugar, you should have some protein with it, or eat protein first and then sugar at the end, because then it won't spike your blood sugar and then have a flood of insulin. Because when your body has a flood of insulin, that is just the hormone that tells your body, hold on to fat. So every time you eat really sugary stuff, your body is releasing insulin, and it's saying, hold on, put all that, right on your thighs. So So you
Interesting.
want to have steady insulin levels, blood sugar levels, so your body is able to release fat for energy. And it's like anything in life. It's just keep it steady.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as moms, we tend to sometimes just do things like,
Yeah.
when I'm in it, I'm going full force in it, whether I'm, following a diet or falling off the wagon.
Then there's the crash and burn. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really a skill in life to learn, is to really learn moderation. And if you go and you look at scripture about just being not being a glutton about things, and it's hard in this overconsumption world of everything. And I'm not just talking food. It could be overconsumption of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are, yeah. Honor, I love this time with you. You are such a wealth of wisdom. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I love talking to you. And I can remember the first time you posted something about your book. And it was the that one was the Unsidelined. Wait, your first one.
Line No More. Yeah.
Sideline No More. That was your first one. And I remember seeing a post about going, I have to meet this girl because she had the courage to write a book. And that takes a lot to do. And so and now then Lady Bellator, and it's just the beginning for you. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Oh my gosh. Thanks. That's such an encouragement, because like I said, I know that we have the same passions. Like, there's so much of, like, I hear you and I'm like, oh yeah, like I refer to that and I refer to that. And just like you were talking about, like God gave us our experiences, and God gave you, before you were even saved, he gave that thing to you that, you liked. I don't want to say, you said famous, but there's something in you that, you have something to say, you have something to share with women and with people, that there's a purpose, there's so much more. And so it's like, yeah, all of us are needed. But I love that you're pushing through, like, okay, I know that God has a calling for me.
Well, so I realize too now, when I say I used to want to be famous, that honestly makes me cringe now, because that's not what it's about.
Right.
And what it's about is, it wasn't that I wanted to be famous. It's the need that everyone has to be known and to be seen. And the real thing that I realized is, the only person that I need to be known and seen by is Christ. And then everything else, I don't need. Now what I do, I need to do and want to do because I want to help people, not because we already are seen and known, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So good. Okay, I'm trying to think of this. Okay, so where can they find you? And because you had talked about, you gave me this list, like the different things. Oh gosh, I don't. And they're gonna cut this off so that it comes smooth. But you were talking like, you had your highlights. Is that what you texted me? Is that what you do in your courses? Is that something like?
Oh, so I also do public speaking. So if people want to hire me to speak at their event or do a workshop for their employees or their small group or whatever that is. So those were my speaking topics on my media. So I do speaking topics. I have workshops, one called From Fear to Fierce. I have courses, one course called Winning Women. And so I just have a lot of different. So what I tell people is, if you're interested in just learning more about me, I have a website, which is my name, honorgarrett.com. But I also have a link to all of my my podcasts, my blog, my website, free resources that I give out to people, free ebooks about lowering stress and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I really care about, is giving away a lot of stuff, because we're all at different places in our lives, whether we're beginning our journey or we're seasoned and we want to know everything. I think it's important to be able to help everybody where they are.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we have some of your free resources available. And then for sure, I want to, because I know I had posted it about a retreat. So hopefully in April sometime. So I'd love for you to be a part of that. And we'll figure something out. But yeah, so people who are listening, it was weird. I know exactly where it's going to be. It's going to be in Encinitas, and it's going to be at this one resort where my husband ends his tours there. And so far, for your anniversary, I finally got to enjoy the minutes, because I'll help out on Thursday for dinner, and then I'll just drive the next day. And so we extended our stay. We're like, oh, let's extend Friday. We extended let's just leave it to. And then it was overnight. Then we did the same thing. Well, let's just leave it too. And then we just stayed overnight till Sunday. But I was able to see all the different things. It's like a walk to the beach. There's turf, so we can just do some.
I'm in. You tell me, and I'll come. I'll participate, or I'll do anything.
Yes. Yeah. It's restore, re-energize, all. Yeah, I'm excited.
And we know this is a fact. We have to fill our cup. I mean, I know it's cliche, but we have to fill our cup so we can serve in the overflow. If so many moms are so tapped out and just empty, they're like, I got nothing left to give. And then bitterness erupts. And I think it's so important to recharge. And yes, it's great to recharge with your husband, but it's also great to recharge with women, because they understand us. We get each other.
Yes, totally. It's funny because I was just talking to someone. Actually, I was talking to a bunch of girls, and they were just talking about the different conversations with their husbands and how they were getting frustrated with their husbands. And I said, you know what? I am realizing after talking to all these women, we want our men to be women. We're not going to get the same look in the face of oh my gosh. They're not going to do that. They're not wired that way.
But we just give them instruction. So yeah. Don't tell them, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to explain or even vent, but I'm not asking you for an answer. I'm just asking you to listen. Don't fix it. But how was I don't know if this is on video or not, but how was your, didn't you go on a retreat somewhere with some women?
No. Oh, well, gosh, I've gone to. Yeah, you can. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Okay, well, Autumn can decide whether they do something. I went to Colombia. That was awesome. So I went to. Yeah, we'll close it somehow. But well, actually, before we do that, are there any last words that you like to give this audience, or anything that you want to share?
I think if I were to give any advice to anybody, any woman out there that's thinking they were made for more, wanting to do something, but they just aren't sure, but they just know in their gut, I just would tell you, don't wait till you're ready. Just don't. Just go ahead and start it, because God will bless those who prepare and who are working towards something. More doors are going to be open. Just be open, because your life will completely transform into something that you don't even recognize if you're just following God's prompting for you. And it's going to be so beautiful. And you're going to get the negative thoughts in your mind from you. And then you're also going to get negative feedback from other people. And so I'll leave it with this. Get out of the GOOP. And GOOP, see, I love acronyms. The good opinion of other people. We can't get caught up in the GOOP, because if you're only care about what other people think, you will never reach your God-given potential.
Yeah. So good. Honor, thank you. You've been such, there's such a contrast I love people like you and like, just wealth of wisdom in women that have gone before us that, what you guys didn't have. You didn't have the platforms and the different things that are out there right now. And I just think that there's such a contrast that it's like totally going against the grain where because of social media and Instagram and all those things, it's like, hey, like it's hard not because I don't want to knock anybody, but it is trendy or it's what you see and what we see is what we kind of gravitate toward in the sense that, you're supposed to say how great things are and, and look at me and all the bad things or I shouldn't be struggling or struggles make you seem like you're less than. And so I just feel that we need real, authentic, transparent, wisdom. And so you doing that, like you are doing amazing things. I just want to encourage you in that.
Well, thank you.
So don't quit because I know we were talking about this.
I know we were talking about it's not easy. We didn't even talk about the whole entrepreneurship stuff, but it's a journey, and you'll grow more as a person than doing anything else in your life when you step out. And
exactly, and it is the journey though. That's what's building our character, and as hard as it gets. That's why God says, count it all joy and fall into various trials. So whether in hard situations in any scenario, but in terms of the entrepreneurship world and trying to live out your purpose, God is totally like building foundations, making you strong for the things that are coming your way. And I do believe that sometimes like the harder it is, it's because God is preparing us for more. Yeah. So I know that he's doing that in you and me. So thank you, Honor, so much for being on the show. Thank you for all that you're doing and just applaud you.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. I can't wait till we do something together.
Yes, I know for sure. And again, like when I see you smile, I see you smile big. It just, I love it. I love it.
I can't believe that we haven't actually met in person. It's going to be so awesome when we do.
I know. Wait, are you tall?
No, I'm 5'5".
Huh? Oh, okay. You're like I'm 5'6". That's weird. I just assumed you're tall. Okay,
really? I wish.
Going to each other won't be weird. All right. We'll close this up. But audience, hope you're blessed. Please look up all the information
honorgarrett.com, but my company's called Honor It.
Yes.
Because I want people to honor it all, everything that happens in their life.
I love it. So, yeah. And your name, God knew. So you're living out. Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys for everything, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Okay.
Until next time, love well, celebrate your strength, and discover the new things you are capable of. You are a light in the lives of those around you, and no night is too dark for you to find your way.